Well, welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. This is
Um,
exciting. I love doing this.
it's so cool. I'm so happy that you're here. So I was going through your website and I noticed that you study fashion merchandising, and I did too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, and it's
4 years.
yeah,
How about you?
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2017.
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
You went to school in Richmond, Virginia?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Richmond, on the south side of Richmond, Monacan High School.
Okay.
hmm
I went to Stevens University. It's a small
Oh,
private school in Maryland.
yeah. For some reason, we had fashion merchandising in high school. Not sure why.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
In high school, so
yeah. Yeah.
and you got the degree?
Yeah, yeah, and it's weird because the girl who was teaching it, her name is Libby. Well, at the time it was Libby Rodolphe, and she ended up opening a big store here in Richmond. And she taught fashion merchandising for a while, and then she opened up a store. So it's pretty cool.
Huh,
Mm,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, so something that I had no idea, and it's very interesting to learn about you, is that you used to be a model.
Yes,
So
yes, for 13 years, modeled all over the world. Oh, where did I not go? I think India and Egypt were the only place I haven't been.
that's
Yeah,
crazy. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, can you tell us more about your journey as a model? Like, how did you start? Who were you signed with? Who you work with, and all that stuff?
Yeah. So I started out in Richmond, Virginia. A scout from Ford found me, and I went up to Ford and I stayed in their home and started building up my book, which was really fun staying in Ford's home, Eileen Ford.
That's crazy. If
Yeah,
anybody
isn't
doesn't,
that crazy?
yeah, I
I
mean, if people
know.
don't know, Eileen Ford founded Ford Models, so
Yes.
you were like with the elites.
Yeah, and I and then there were so many models that stayed in the apartment, and at night we'd sneak out. It was really fun.
Really?
We had a good time, and so I started modeling with Ford, and started building up my book in the summertime because
Mm-hmm.
I was still in high school. And then when I finished high school, the first place I went to was to Spain and Barcelona,
Mm.
and modeled there for a while. And so that was my first experience ever being away from home, which was a very difficult experience because, I'm from Richmond, Virginia, small town. I feel like Richmond's kind of small.
Yeah.
And then go away to some other place that you don't even speak the language. I mean, of course, I studied a little Spanish in school, but I mean, I had no idea how to even order anything.
Yeah,
It's so
no.
different back then.
Yeah, and you were just like what, like 18 maybe?
Yeah,
17?
17, 18. Yeah, it was still, that's pretty young, I think, to
Yeah.
travel on your own. And I got really nervous about traveling then. And so I came back home, and I did a lot with Ford. I went to Japan and in Los Angeles, and I worked a lot for, Evian, Benetton, Lancome, um, Elle magazine. Then I did a lot of magazines in Paris, like French Vogue and French Bazaar. Um, did some covers. I mean, I had a pretty good career traveling throughout, and went to Germany, made good money in Germany and Paris,
When did you start
London.
it? When did you started making money from modeling? Because sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, well, for me it did take a while. I was really building up my book. It took, I guess, probably 2 years, and then I started making money. In the beginning, I borrowed money from a bank,
Hmm.
just to start to build up my portfolio, because at that time most agencies didn't advance you the money like they
Hmm.
do now. So now they kind of advance you, but back then they didn't. So I guess I took out about $2,000 to invest in my testing up in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's really good for, I feel like, whoever's listening to the podcast to also listen to that part. Because a lot of times when you hear about models like experiences, and you hear like, oh, I traveled to Spain and I traveled to Paris, you think like, oh my God, this model is making all this money. But in reality, you're investing in your career first for like a while, and then you start
Right.
making money.
Well, and it felt like, when I went away to Paris for the first time, I started work for French Vogue pretty quickly. Now, if you're working for any kind of magazine, you're making about $150 a day. So, back then, I mean, that was nothing really. So the
Yeah.
agency actually invested a lot of money in Paris for me. They paid upfront money, but then I started to get a lot of tear sheets. And then once I got all the tear sheets from Europe, then I came back to the States and worked a lot more. So yeah, it does. It takes a while to build up the book. Some people work right away, but then it just takes. I mean, it took me at least 2 or 3 years to start making money, and then I was able to support myself with no problem and save a little money, and and then I got tired of modeling. I got tired of people touching me.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, I don't think it's, I get people into modeling, but I don't see it as really glamorous. Everybody go, oh, it's so glamorous. I like traveling. That was the best part. You get to travel to really beautiful places, beaches, and I did a lot of bathing suit stuff too. So you get to travel great places, but after a while, it's like somebody just keep doing your makeup and touching you. It's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after 13 years of doing it, I guess, you might get to that point. But yeah, and I think you said that one of like the best runway shows that you did was for Chanel.
Yes, I did that in New York when I was with Ford. I did Chanel, and that was super exciting for me because, I mean, she's very famous now, but was very famous back when I was modeling. So it was a big show. And then I did shows in Japan. So, but I'm not like 5'10", and most girls are much taller. So I'm about 5'8.5", 5'9", if I'm stretching it. So I didn't get to do too many shows.
Okay.
More print than anything.
But still, I mean, you obviously did a lot. So it's amazing. So after 13 years of, traveling and doing like amazing things that so many of us want to do like one day, you decided to quit. And what did you do after that? Like, what was your next step?
Well, during the modeling part, I always helped girls with their portfolios, putting them together, picking out pictures. I always felt like I was kind of an agent even back then. I preferred actually to help the girls to actually go on castings and go to work. I really loved helping the girls. So that's kind of how I got into it. I was living in Los Angeles and working pretty well there. But as I said, I really got tired of people touching me all the time. So I asked my agent back then if I could work at the agency some. So I started working part-time at the agency, and she noticed that I could really, I had a good eye and that I could pick out pictures really well, and that I was really good with the models.
Which agency was this one? Was it still Ford or was it another one?
No, this was LA Models.
Okay.
In LA, yeah. I don't think Ford had a agency out there then at that time, but
just to go back for like 1 second, you were you were not just with Ford, you were with a few others too.
Yeah, so when I spent most of the time with Ford, that was my main agency. But when I went away to Japan and then came back, I was with Ford in Japan. But then when I came back, I switched and went to Elite. Someone told me that I should go with Elite, so I did that, and so I worked with Elite also. So
okay.
Right. And then so going back to LA, I know I traveled a lot. It's a funny story, but it's crazy. I was in the plane a lot. Like I feel really relaxed in a plane.
Nice.
Like I can go to sleep in a plane.
That's really good. For someone who travels a lot, that's really good,
Yeah. So in the agency, she asked me to just come and help out. So that's what I did, and started working in the agency. And then I moved back to New York and Virginia, helped start an agency here in Virginia. Then I moved to New York, and I worked at Paris USA is not around anymore, but Doug Ash and Louise Roberts were big in the business, but they don't work anymore. But they had an agency called Paris USA, and I helped start with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of famous, agents there. And then I worked at APM Models, which I helped start APM Models in New York, which was really fun to start an agency. It was crazy, though. It was very difficult in New York, starting an agency.
How long ago was that? Because I know about APM Models.
Yeah, and they've been around for a while now. Let's see. It was probably 20 years ago. I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So about 20 years ago. They've been around a long time.
Okay.
So when I first started, that was the first part of APN. It used to be A+ Models.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom started the agency, and then she decided to do a fashion part, and then we called that APM Models.
Okay.
So, and then I got a job offer with Elite, and I had modeled with Elite, so I already knew a whole bunch of people there. So I started to be a manager there, which was really exciting because on both sides, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I knew some of the models that were already there that were still modeling.
Uh-huh. Nice. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, I worked at a place called Brian Bantry, which is still happening, and he's super. And they represent hair and makeup artists and stylists, and I represented the stylist. And I don't know if you know who Patrick Demarchelier is.
Not sure.
Yeah, he's pretty famous photographer.
Okay.
And Russell James. Do you know who Russell James is? No, Victoria's Secret.
Okay. To be honest, I don't know that many famous photographers as I know the models.
You're more about the models. Yeah.
I think Avalon.
Yes,
okay.
Richard Avedon.
Okay. Yeah.
Avedon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that name.
Yeah, good. So, and they represented them. So I would do Patrick's book, which is amazing. I mean, he shot people like Princess Di and Madonna, and the list goes on and on and on. He's shot a lot of covers.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked there for about 5 years, and then I moved back to Richmond, and I've been doing placement and scouting for the last, 11 years, 12 years, long time. I don't know. I can't keep all the dates straight, but it's a long time.
Yeah. So in general, how long have you been in the industry, like in total, with like modeling and being an agent and scouting?
Over 30 years.
Nice. That's amazing.
I'm old.
No. Well, you look amazing. You look amazing.
Thanks.
So,
but I really love it. I mean, if you love a business and and I think I'm good at what I do, I know I've tried to change to another career, but I just don't even know what else I could do. So I haven't done anything else.
No, but I think that's really cool what you're doing. So I support. Okay, so now that you are a mother agent and a scout, and that's what you dedicate your life to in terms of like your career, professional career. I feel like that term, like mother agent, is not as popular as it should be, I think, in the industry. When I started modeling, I had no idea what a mother agent was, what they did, what was the purpose. Like I was very confused. So could you explain to us what it is and why is it important for a model to have one?
So a mother agent, and I'll just in a short version of it. I'll try to do the short version of it.
I mean, you can do the long version because this is a podcast. So I think the more details, the better, to be honest. So feel free to do the long part.
So a mother agent, I place and help develop models to get into the industry. And mainly what I do now, I can't speak for other mother agents, but what I focus in on is the bigger agencies. So we're talking about Elite, IMG, Ford, Wilhelmina, the Lions, the Society, Women, all those. And there's New York models, there's tons, but the major 15 of them that do really well, those are who I focus on. I try to find, and I'm an independent scout too. So the mother agent is an independent scout, hopefully. They may work for one agency, you never know, but there's one mother agent that I know that works just for Next. Mm-hmm. And then there's, they could just work for one agency, but I like to work with all the top agencies in New York. So that's, my main goal is to find models to place with them and also to develop them. And then the other part that I do is I help with contracts. I help to place them. I help to find the right agency for them. I help to guide them in their career. And let's say if, one of the examples is if I have a model that's in Paris that's not happy about working with just one client, I can go to the agency and I can say, hey, she's not, she's really not happy just working with one client. What is our big goal here? How can we help her to feel better about what she's doing and maybe, change clients or see if she can get another kind of client. So I can help in that way too. So so if you're selling real estate, you have a broker, and that's kind of what I do. I'm the in-between person. And how I make my money is that let's just say that if I place you with an agency and the agency, you work a job and you make $100 and the agencies always take out 20% of that. So you would get $80 and the agency gives me 10%. So it really, it never comes out of the model's money. Yeah. It always comes out of the agency's money. So it's kind of a win-win situation. I mean, you never have to pay the mother agent. They just help you. Yeah. Yeah. in hopes that you work, because I've placed a lot of girls with agencies and then they decide that they'd rather get married or go back to school or, and I can spend hours and hours and hours helping a girl and then they just decide they don't want to do it anymore. So I only make money if the model makes money. So I hope to get them with an agency that eventually they're going to make money and do well. Yeah. Nice. So I'll make a percentage. And sometimes I get a scouting fee too. So it just depends on the agency.
Okay. So you say that you help develop them. For somebody, again, who doesn't know what that means, what does that mean? That means you help them get test shoots to build a portfolio.
Yeah. So I help them, like someone like you already have tons of pictures. You don't really need any. I mean, you can have more pictures. You can always have more pictures. But usually when I have somebody who's, I'll say green, they've never done any shoots. And those are really fun to have a first model. So I'll probably do a photo shoot with a photographer that I really know and trust. And I have two photographers here in Virginia that I work with that I think are fantastic. And the agencies really like their pictures. And I think that's important for me that the agencies like them too. So I get my brand new models to do tests with, and we kind of do maybe a workshop or something like that. And then I teach them how to walk. I'll teach them how to move in front of the camera. And that's so fun, get in front of the camera. I'm like, okay, well, move your head a little bit this way. And, no smiling. This is high fashion. We go down the whole, and I kind of teach them how to be a model, basically. So the development is them learning how to be a model.
That's amazing. I love it.
Oh, thanks. I love it. I mean, I really love it. It's just fun to teach and to help, new people.
Yeah. So it's awesome because I feel like a lot of aspiring models, they feel like they can't start yet because they don't have the experience. And it's really nice that mother agents take the time to develop, new faces, new people. Yeah. And also,
well, that's what I do. I don't know what other.
That's what you do.
I mean, I have one girlfriend, Karen Lee. She actually does the same. So I know that she does the same. So I have a few friends that are also scouts, mother agents like me. So we kind of.
Yeah. No, but it's really nice because I get like a lot of like messages from girls saying like, oh, I wanted to join an agency, but they had a mandatory modeling class that I had to get and pay for.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, who is teaching the classes? Is it somebody who has the experience that they've, been a model or have been up to New York, been to Paris, been to, if somebody's teaching it like that, then yes. But if somebody is never really modeled around the world and they're teaching a class, I don't know. What do they know?
Yeah.
I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just saying.
No, it's true. I
So
mean,
you're paying a lot of money for
what?
Yeah, for what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I always wonder about that when people say, oh, well, I paid, this amount of money for this class. And I'm like, well, what did they teach you what you need to know for 2020? I mean, did they teach you, everything you need to know? And you took our workshop, and I think that what we're teaching now in our workshop for Model Secrets is what you need to know. It's just not halfway. It's really what you need to know.
Yeah,
the digitals, and if you don't want a mother agency, then you have to know how to shoot those digitals to make them look good. I mean, you don't want to.
No, I agree. But yeah, it's like whenever I hear that, like, especially when it says like it's mandatory to pay for the modeling class to be able to join the agency, that's when I think that's like a little fishy. Like it's not the way it's supposed to be. Like if an agency wants you, they'll help you develop you because their business is in getting you jobs, and that's when they make money after you book the jobs.
Well, and some people make money off of doing the pictures. So yeah, I guess, or doing the classes, like that. I guess that's how I don't know.
Yeah. But but I think like if you do pay for like a modeling class, it should be someone who obviously has experience, like for example you with Model Secrets, and also like there's Coco Russia. She teaches a posing class. It's really, really good. I took it too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, wasn't it good?
It was really, really good.
Katya was showing me some of the things that she did, and I was like, wow, this is, I mean, she's, that's who you should take classes from.
Exactly.
Money, take them from.
Yeah. I mean, Coco is a supermodel, and she teaches like how to pose in front of the camera. She teaches like things that I feel like I haven't learned anywhere else. I've never taken a modeling class. That was my first time taking one. And I really learned, a lot. So if you want to take a modeling class, I feel like that one is a really good one to take. And then if you want to learn, she also answers questions about the industry. But if you want to know, I think you guys covered more about like everything that entails
everything.
And like I think with Coco, it was more like a Q&A. So depending what questions people were asking her, depends what information she was giving. So obviously it's good to have good questions to have, good answers. But both workshops are amazing. So I recommend both of them.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we really, even if you don't want a mother agent, I really do feel like we covered everything to even get people started in the business.
Yeah. I just think it was great information. Like if I was a new model and had absolutely no idea how everything worked, I think like in the past, if I ever taken your workshop, it would like really help me understand what it meant to be a model. Because in my
you think it was too much?
No. I mean, I think it's a lot of information to digest, but just because it's a very, complex job. Like it's not like, oh, you're a pretty face, get in front of the camera and you get paid. Like it doesn't work that way. You have to work on many areas of your life, and you have to, apply to agencies. You have to take, like, it's so complicated that I think you cover everything in the best way that you could for the time that you had. I think it's just a great start. And maybe, I don't know, maybe in the future, if you make more workshops, maybe you can make them like niche workshops. Like this workshop just covers this part.
Well, we just came up with a 1 hour, 5 steps how to get signed to an agency.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's what we did. That's our new one.
Okay. And I have a discount code. So if anybody wants to join the next workshop, if you use Andrea25, you can get $25 off. And like I said, it's a great information. And as you've heard, Kim has so much experience in the modeling world from both the modeling side and the agent side. So I trust her. I trust you guys with her in learning what you need to know. Thank you. But yeah, so basically, like as you've stated, like model agents don't charge any fees. You only make money if the model ends up getting placed and then ends up booking work. You make 10% of the agent's fees. Model doesn't lose anything.
No, the model doesn't lose anything. That's why I'm always like, well, it's kind of better to have somebody. It's like having a second mom. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the way I feel about most of my girls, you know, that I'm like their second moms. So how can I mean, I'm older than I could be everybody's mom. So it's like, how do I protect them and keep them safe and do the best job I can for them so they'll be happy to make money. And then eventually I'll make money. Hopefully.
Yeah. And honestly, I do think that maybe a mother agent is not like 100% necessary to like develop your career and get where you want to get. But I do think it's very, very helpful. Not only because, you know, you help models, you know, get placed where they want to get placed and you help them grow their career, but also because you, like you said, you protect them. There's so many things that can happen that can go wrong in a model's career, and it's really nice that someone with a level of authority in the industry, in the industry, can help you, you know, because I've heard so many stories of models that they were in very, really bad situations, and they felt that their agents from their agency couldn't help them. And I think that wouldn't be the case if you had a mother agent and you were like, hey, this and this happened, like, help me, you know, and you will be able to step in and help them. So I think like I said, it's not like 100% needed. Like, it's not like make it or break it. But if you want to like have someone to look over you, I think a mother agent is like a great thing.
I mean, I've had girls call me, you know, in the middle of a shoot and say, this photographer wants me to do a topless thing and I don't feel comfortable with that. And I'm like, okay, put them on the phone. Amazing. I mean, that really helps, I think. So they don't have to be in an awkward situation themselves. They can say, you know, here. And then I get on the phone and I'm like, hey, look, she's not doing topless. So just forget about that. Yeah. And that was it. I mean, nobody needed to argue or there was no conflict between the model and the photographer. Yeah.
No, like I love that, because if you're 17 and you're alone in a set and you don't know anyone and you are put in this uncomfortable situation, that's why it's so easy to comply, because everyone is older than you. You feel like they have authority over you, and if you don't feel comfortable and you have a mother agent, you can just, you know, call her, text her, and be like, hey, help me out.
Yeah, and I always encourage all, you know, that's a good point. I always encourage anybody who's under 18, and if they're not, even if they're older, that they have a parent or a guardian with them at all times. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you have to sit right on the set, but that means that you are nearby. And I totally, and I've actually gone myself, you know, as a mother agent, I've gone and sat with my models that are underage, you know, to go with them, because
that's so nice.
Extra.
I always, same thing. I always recommend, if you're starting out, like if you're under 18, most importantly, but even if you're older, to bring your parent or your friend or somebody. And if the photographer says like, oh, if you bring somebody, I'm not going to shoot you, then don't shoot with them. Yeah. Because that's a red flag. That's a huge red flag. Yeah. So always bring someone.
Always parents or guardians can always just stand right outside wherever they are. You know, I would never see there would be a problem unless there's a mom or somebody who's standing right there while they're shooting and trying to direct them. That's not a good idea.
Yeah. Just be standby. But it's always good. So I know that it's, you know, finding a mother agent is not as easy as finding like regular agencies. So what I recommend models to do is that if they have a model that they look up to, that they go to their Instagram profile and they look in their bio. Usually the models have their mother agent tagged in their bio. It says MA, mother agent, or management. Yes. And that's like the easiest way to find someone who's legit in terms of like mother agent. So once a model has found a mother agent that they want to apply to, reach out to, And if they said they're writing an email, how they should write it, like what should they include, anything that they should say, not say, how would you consider a model if they reach out to you?
Well, normally what they do, and the best way to sort of get my attention is to send the digitals. Mm-hmm. And then you put all your stats, which is your bust to, I'm talking about girls, by the way. Mm-hmm. Bust, waist, hips, shoe size, hair color, eye color, how tall you are. It's good to put the weight, where you're from. I get a lot that are from out of the country, which mm-hmm. is pretty amazing, because that makes a difference in visas and who can come, who can't come to them, America. And now it's totally different, of course. But so you want to have digitals against a white background, very simple. Have a friend take them, no makeup, wearing something that's form-fitting. You can wear a bathing suit or not. I just had somebody ask me this: do I have to wear a two-piece bathing suit? Of course not. You can wear whatever that looks good on you, that is form-fitting, so they can see what your body looks like.
Mm-hmm. But you don't have to.
No, you don't have to. I mean, most agencies up in New York do ask for a two-piece bathing suit because they really want to see what you look like.
Okay.
But you don't have to, no. Mm-hmm. And then you send that, and, please be patient, because I get a lot of emails.
Okay.
And a lot of people asking, and I don't always
reply.
I don't always email back, which I should. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just saying I don't always. I try to do my best to email everybody back and just say, yes, I'd totally love to meet with you, or no, you're not right for me. And people don't really understand. They're like, well, why am I not right for you? Well, because I have a certain, and it's true. Because I have a certain type that, because I work with certain agencies. So I have a certain type that I try to
go for.
Yeah, I try to go for.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I understand from like the model side when you're like applying to an agency and then you get the email saying like, sorry, but we don't think you're right fit for the agency.
Right. And then you want to know why. Of course you do.
Yeah, you want to know. I mean, I usually never ask. I don't think I ever asked. Maybe I asked like one time, but I feel like...
I think that's a good one not to ask, because if they say you're not right, then you're not right. I mean, you did then move on. Go to another one.
Yeah. I mean, I usually just take it as like, okay, you already told me no, then like moving on to the next one. But I understand why someone would ask. But I guess it's a good thing that you're mentioning that. So any models that get that, response, that you shouldn't ask why, and just move on to next.
move on to somebody else that will take you.
Yeah. So you were saying that you sometimes get messages from girls that are out of the country. So you represent anybody in any part of the world, or do you mostly just take people from the US? Like how?
Mostly people from the US. I mean, if I find somebody who's fantastic that is outside of the US, then I will refer one of the agencies to, I'll say, hey, to the scouts, hey, I think this person is really great. You might want to try to contact them. Mm-hmm. So I basically give to one of the big agencies, I give them the information.
But you don't actually like take them?
No.
Okay.
No, I just refer them because I don't want to have to deal with all the visas. And I mean, I could, but I just rather not.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
It's very complicated. Yeah. I get a lot of messages from girls saying like, oh, I live in like Croatia, and like there are very few agencies, like they don't take my height or things like that. Can I try in the US? And I always tell them like, yeah, you can totally try, but the smaller the agency, the less likely that they'll take you, just because the process of the visas is so complicated.
It's so complicated.
Yeah. So that's why usually like if you're a smaller agency, you're not gonna want to handle like all of that, and maybe the big ones will, but it's really hard to get to the big ones. So it's a very complicated
the best idea is probably to find wherever they're living, maybe try to find an agency in that area.
Yeah, and start there. And then but I do know there are some other agents that do take models from like anywhere in the world. So for example, there's I can't remember what's her name, but on Instagram I think it's London Model Scout.
Oh.
And she's based in London, and I know that she takes, like, for example, the Aliana King, like a petite model that I'm constantly telling you about.
course.
She's originally from the Bermudas. So she found her on Instagram and she signed her, and then she helped her get placed in like all the other agencies are like in the US and in Europe.
That's so good.
Yeah. That's one of the model agents that I know that take like international models. Mm-hmm. So I think in general, you should always try. And the worst that can happen is that you get told no.
Right.
And then you try somewhere else.
Right. I mean, I definitely have placed girls in other countries, but I feel like, I kind of start out in America. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the US for almost 10 years. Mm. And for me, my family has been such a complicated and long process to get our papers. So I understand why an agency, especially like a small one, wouldn't want to get involved in all of that, because it's just a lot, and it's very expensive too.
Right.
Yeah.
I just connected with someone who is in London through a friend that's in Virginia. So it's so funny because they're like, oh, we can start placing a lot of the models with the London agency too. So I'm excited about that new relationship that's kind of opening.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
So since you have 30-ish years of experience in the industry, how have you seen the change in terms of diversity? Have you seen a noticeable change in terms of like, skin color and height and size and the type of models that get signed, all that stuff?
So it's so interesting because one of the Fords when I was modeling thought that I had a very, very different look. That's what they would always tell me.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I don't at all. But, this was the time of, you think about Christy Brinkley and Elle Macpherson, their all-American look. And so a lot of times they would, when I was with Ford, they would say to me, we're not sure, like, because you look so different.
That's
which is so strange.
Crazy.
Right? So you look so strange. You look very French. That was so. We're going to send you to France.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would go to France and people would automatically think I was French when I was there. But so now, I mean, it's crazy to think because I think I look so all American now. But so that's a big difference. And now I am so happy and so grateful that we have all shapes and different sizes and different, it's everybody in the industry now. And I'm so grateful about that because before when I was modeling, it was just, the blonde hair and the light skin and, it was like, oh, it's boring to me. It was boring. Mm-hmm. And now it's like exciting and it's like a beautiful flowers,
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I just love that we're doing all shapes and sizes. And I mean, you look at a Target catalog or, online or something, and you just see everybody. Yeah. It's so great.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing
I love it.
The curvy models and the petite models and just like different skin colors and different ethnicities. It's crazy because I was reading this book from Nigel Barker. What's the name of the book? I can't remember. But it was just like kind of like a history book. It would talk about like top models in the industry from like the very beginning until like around now. The book I think was published around 2008, I think.
Is he a photographer, right?
Yes. He was one of the photographers that Tyra Banks used for America's Next Top Model. Yeah, him.
Yes. Okay, yes.
And I read, for example, so many like crazy stories. Like, for example, there was this Asian model that they didn't want to work with her just because she was Asian. Yeah. Because she was so different.
Yes.
And everybody was like, white. Yes. So it was so hard for her. Like, I think she did a photo shoot and I think they wanted to publish it like in a magazine. And they were like, we're not going to publish it because she's Asian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
it's crazy. Crazy.
So we're going from there or like people told you that you were like very different looking.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you look at me, I'm like not. And one of the jobs that I did was with American L, and I'll never forget it because that was, it was very diverse. And also Benetton, I did Benetton. And so that was diverse too. At that time, that was huge. I mean, that was really different. And I loved it. It was great because, we had every ethnicity beside me, in front of me. And, it was, really good shoots. Both of those were great. And now I think it's just normal. When I see a girl, I don't even look, it's like, just if they have a cool look, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't care what their ethnicity is at all.
And you say that because you were not like 5'10", like back then when you were modeling, you were like 5'8.5", 5'9", that you couldn't do as many runway shows. So were you called too short at the time? Or were you told like, oh
no, I think that 5'9" was a normal height back then. Now it's more 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the agencies want girls that are 5'10". Yeah.
But I mean, there's always exceptions.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I just talked to one agent yesterday, and I said, I was talking about you. And I said, I had this beautiful new girl, and she is not 5'8". She's not 5'9". But she's amazing, great personality, and I described everything about you. And they were saying that Women 360, which I didn't even know, Women 360 is taking petite girls.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. Oh, I'm so excited. So anyway, was the scout from that. That's who I was talking to yesterday.
Thank you.
So we were talking about you yesterday.
But yeah, so a lot of times when I talk about like, the industry is changing and, we're going in the right direction, obviously I get comments from people like seeing the glass half empty instead of like half full. And they're like, oh, it's not really changing. But when you hear stories about how it was back then and how it is now, like we have it way better now.
Oh yeah, it's totally changed. I mean, and also, on Instagram, like if you have a certain amount of followers, you can usually get signed with an agency. I mean, that's what the clients want to see is how many followers do you have? So it doesn't even matter about height or look or almost. It's like, it's like if you have 1 million followers, okay, we'll take you. So, I mean, the influencers are one of the big models now.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
So what would you tell a model that, aspiring model that wants to start, getting signed to agencies and booking work and all that stuff? What would you tell them if they were afraid of getting rejected from someone who was a model and who was an agent and who's now a model agent? What would you tell them?
Well, I think that getting rejected is just part of the business. So if you can't handle getting rejected, then you shouldn't be in the business at all, because you think about all the appointments and castings and auditions, same thing, but, all together, talking about commercial and print and runway, and you go on all those castings, and if you're going to get rejected left and right, I mean, when you're with Ford and they'll give you 8 castings to go on in a day's time, how many jobs do you think you're going to get from that casting? So it's just a normal part of the business is rejection.
Yeah.
So if you go with an agency, or you're trying to get with an agency and you don't get with them, then move on, go to the next one. I mean, perfect example, Kate Moss. I mean, how many agencies did she go to until they took her? Many, many, many. So you just have to keep being persistent in the business, and just, like I said, if you're not okay with getting rejected, then this business is probably not right for you.
Yeah.
You have to get used to it. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, you have to build up a little bit of, I mean, it is, being honest.
No, it's true. It hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. And, when you're also a model, they comment on everything about you, your face, your eyes, your hips, and you have to get used to that too. You have to have kind of a little thick skin to be in the business, I think.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I would assume with the amount of jobs that you did and all this amazing things that you did, the proportion of rejection that you also received was also pretty big.
big, very big. Yep.
Yeah.
When you go to you go to auditions, say like, I mean, I never forget going to so many commercial auditions, and they would be like, you keep moving your eyebrows, or stop moving your eyebrows all the time. And it's like, just that's just who I am, and
that's how you move your eyebrows.
That's that's just how I am. So I can't help who I am.
Yeah.
And so that's not what they wanted. They wanted someone who didn't move their eyebrows.
Oh my God.
Or maybe they wanted someone who was blonde, or
yeah.
So you just never know, and you hope that you hope that you get a job, and you just do your best and show your great personality. And I think personality makes a big difference too in the modeling industry. If you have a good personality, people want to work with you again.
Yeah, I think that's really important in the industry. Like, you can, I've heard it. I think it was in Coco Rocha's like model camp. She was saying how, like, maybe if let's say you were like, something about your physical appearance was not like right exactly where like their look that they're going for, but then they notice that their personality was great, then that outweighs like whatever it was that they didn't meet, and then they decide to take that model because her personality is so good.
Right.
So sometimes maybe you might be tall enough or like slim enough, but you have a great personality, then that can help you.
Right. And you think about it. So like, if you're doing a job, like one of my examples is I was in San Diego for a week doing catalog work. You're there with them for a week. So
they have to like you.
They don't want someone who has a bad personality, who's not speaking or not talking to them. They want someone, that they can relate to and talk with and have a conversation with, and enjoy being with them. That makes a big difference. I mean, a week's a long time to every single day, all day long, to spend with people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. For sure.
Makes a big difference.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for being on the podcast. I appreciate all of your amazing information.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to leave in the description box your Instagram and Model Secrets online information if anybody wants to join the workshop.
Yep. And my website, it's really easy. It's just Kim Alley.
Okay, I'm gonna, just in case, I'm gonna put it.
That was easy.
I'm gonna put it on the description box as well if anybody wants to get in contact with you.
Yep, great. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Bye.